So you want to make cool looking mods like this? All right, let me show you what it is you're gonna need. Be warned, it's quite a bit. Let's get into it. Okay, so in front of you, you are seeing all of the different programs you are going to need to do mod making stuff, depending upon your experience level. Now, I'm not going to show you how to use each one of these programs because there's a couple that I haven't the slightest idea how to use them. I haven't gotten that far yet. But I will show you what each one does and why it is you're going to need it. So the very first one you are definitely going to need, you're going to need some sort of a zip extractor program such as WinRar or 7-zip. I've never used 7-zip. I've only used WinRar. So that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. And where you can get that, you just kind of type in Google, WinRar download, and just kind of follow the directions, and you'll get it figured out. If you see this site, you're at the right spot. So you don't have to worry there. The only thing about WinRar that kind of sucks is when you open it, the free download version, it's going to pop up like a little annoying box. Sometimes it'll look like this, sometimes it'll look different. If you just hit close, you can use it no problem, and it's fine. You can open up anything. So, it's not going to bug you too much. It's just when you initially open it. So, totally free. Don't have to spend any money. Okay? So, you're going to use that to basically open up mod that you want to mess with or change things or pillage parts from or whatever. And if you do build a mod, you're going to use this to kind of put it back into a zip file. That's pretty much what you're going to do there. The next several pieces of software you're going to need are this test runner, this texture tool, editor, Giants editor, and Giants icon generator. Now you can get all of these from the same site. You're going to get those from the Giants Developer Network. You will need to make an account. Don't worry, it's free, doesn't cost anything. And the Developer Network actually has quite a bit of stuff. The latest version here, Giants Editor version 10.5.0, that's going to be for FS25 and newer. At version 9 and older, version 9 is for 22. I do believe version 8 is for 19. Not 100% on that, but there's where you can get your Giants editor. You scroll down, you can get other tools, like here, the Giants texture tool right there. Oops, I just started downloading that. Yay, I've already got it, thank you. And then you got the test runner, yada, 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 yada. So what each one of those does is the editor, that's basically for the model itself, how the model is put together. So I'll show you an example of that here. Okay, this is what Giants Editor looks like when you have it. And this is all just for the 3D modeling. This has nothing to do with how it all works. This is just where everything is at on the model. And I know there's bits missing here. That's just how the modder put this together. So we'll come back to that later. Next one you'll need FS icon generator. It's pretty simple. It's this little guy. It's basically just going to make a picture of your mod to kind of collaborate to show how it looks like in the menus, basically, like how it looks in the store, on the store menu, how it looks in the mod download section menu, etc. Like I said, I'm not going to show you how to use these. I'm just showing you what it is you'll need and what it is you'll look like, what it is it's going to look like. If you're looking for tutorials on all of this stuff, there are plenty of videos on the internet. You'll find it. You'll figure it out, depending upon your patience level. The texture tool, I really don't know how to use that. I haven't gotten that far, but I have it just in case. Don't really know. Like I said, I don't know how to use it yet, but that's basically going to be everything in the folder there. So the next thing is the test runner. Once you have your mod all zipped up, put back together, you can run it through this test runner thing. You grab it, drag it to this, and it does a little test and whatnot. It looks for errors, it looks for warnings, looks for things that generally Giants isn't fond of. So it kind of gives you a base understanding of what it is you need to fix before you actually submit it to Giants, if you're planning on having it put on the Mod Hub or having it released for PC on the Mod Hub in itself. And it gives you information on what you need to fix automatically. It's a pretty neat little piece. I use it quite often. The next most important thing I would say is Notepad++, or any really text editor. You could use just regular Notepad. You could use Word. But I really recommend Notepad++ because it kind of helps out with finding errors and problems and bits and pieces that are messed up with the code. And what that's going to look like is this. I know, don't worry about all of this text. We'll get into that in just a minute. But it gives you all kinds of things. So like if we highlight this here, it shows the next piece. You know, it's a very useful tool. As you go through and learn this, it becomes a lot easier to use. Paint.net, that's the next one. This one's going to help you create images, change things over to certain formats that mods in the game like. The game's not really a fan of .png. It doesn't like it. I don't know why. It likes .dds, which is direct draw surface, or direct draw surface. My bad. And what that's going to look like is it's going to look like this. You see this stuff in the background right here? This is kind of like what the icon generator does, but here in Paint, you can change things around to kind of better suit your needs. You can also use Paint to make textures and whatnot. But like I said, I haven't gotten that far. Not really sure on how to do textures. But this is just something you can use to create images that the game particularly likes. So if we look up here in the left corner, we see icon new semi-tandem.dds. That's the format that Giants likes. And if you have an image somewhere and the game doesn't like it, you'll find that in the log file. If you don't know how to find the log file, I'll show you in just a minute. Audacity. This is a audio converter split kind of thing. So if you have a certain sound file from another game that you really like, and you say, you know what, I want to see if I can switch that from this game over to this game, Audacity will be able to help you with that. Because for some odd reason, Giants from 22 to 25 decided to change the format. Instead of using MP3 or WAV files, they went to OGG. Don't know what that stands for, but it's what it requires. Otherwise, the mod won't have any sound if your mod has sounds. So, and this is what it's going to look like. You can get Audacity. I mean, same thing. Just go into Google, type in Audacity download. This is the page you're going to want to get it from. Oh, and Notepad. Same thing, you can get the download Notepad++ in your Google, and same thing with Paint.net. Just, Google Paint.net download, and these are the pages you're going to want to look for. The big one here, Blender. Have not learned Blender. It is difficult for me to sit down and learn how to do everything, and the tricky part is all of the controls for Blender are different from the controls for editor, and my brain can't seem to differentiate the two. So it's really tough when you're looking at a model in editor and then you go into Blender and all the controls are different, and you got to make heads or tails of it, and it's kind of difficult for me. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I know enough to be dangerous. And Blender, to me, it's dark. It's kind of scary. I don't know how to do anything with this quite yet. There are a lot of tutorial videos on YouTube, all over the internet. I've watched many. I still haven't quite grasped the concept. I really need somebody to just kind of like sit me down and explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, because that's pretty much the only way I'm going to learn this. I would like to, because I would definitely build some pretty awesome stuff with this. Don't worry about this data folder. That's just a copy of all of the assets in the game, like placeables, vehicles, shrubbery, stuff like that. It's just a copy I use to have a quick reference to get to something. And this FS icon generator folder, when you're done making your in-game images, your icon generator pictures are going to go into this folder, and you'll have to hunt that down to find it. The icon generator will make this folder, and I just grabbed a shortcut and put it in this folder that I have for all of the editing stuff, so I have an easy way to get to everything. So if you're just starting out, at the very least I suggest you get is the zip tool, WinRar, 7-zip, whatever, Notepad++, and Giants Editor. Those are the three basic bits and components that you are going to need. Everything else isn't really super required to make mods, but those three definitely you're going to need as a minimum. So now let's move on to what I call the unending rabbit hole of making mods for Farming Simulator. Now there's a lot of people out there that'll tell you, hey, modding for Farm Sim, it's easy. And then there's a lot of people out there that'll tell you, man, modding for Farm Sim is hard. And you should believe both of them. It really depends on your skill level, how good you are with, computers and figuring out programs and whatnot. If you struggle on your computer and you struggle to kind of learn things and pay attention, you're going to struggle with making mods. Me as an adult, I have not been diagnosed with it quite yet, but I'm pretty sure I've got some form of ADD, because I start messing with one thing and then I see something interesting and I just, ooh, shiny, and I just kind of go that direction. So real quick, Notepad++. This is the XML file that tells the game what everything does. So the game reads the text and it says, okay, this does this does that, blah, yada, yada, yada. This truck has so many options. So many options. I mean, we look at all of this text. We're starting with wheels here, okay? And we're at line 61. I'm just going to scroll down to the end of all of the wheel configurations. So give me a minute. There it is. Wheel configurations all the way down to line 435. We started at 61. We're 435 lines in, and holy crap. And then there's lights. There's lights. All kinds of lights. All kinds of lights. And this is all like required stuff. Like, the more stuff you put on your model, the more lines of code you need to put into the XML file to tell the game like exactly what everything does. And we're still in lights here. 400. Oh no, we're done. We're done right here. 1392. We started at what, 437, and now we're at 1392. So almost 1,000 lines of code just for lights. Wow. No, wait, hey, we're still going. Turn lights, static lights, beacon lights. There we go. 1457. Yeah, a little over 1,000 lines of code for just lights. Dashboard stuff, license plate, rotating parts, attacher joints, the connection hoses. So all of this stuff, like the model does, it's all written out right here in XML. All of it. Motor configurations, that tell it's like how much power it's got, how fast it goes, yada yada yada. Gear transmissions, and just exhaust effects, and animations, drivable fill units. So it obviously it takes diesel. Obviously there's like air and stuff that it needs to do, and it's just stuff that folds, stuff that moves. Sounds, tension belts. I don't think there's any tension belts on this one, but Animations, more stuff that moves when you're going down the road. You know, it's all it is. Wipers, moving parts. It just keeps going and going and going. Then you've got your design configurations and colors and all sorts of stuff. Design configurations, different things you can change on the model. Oh, now we're going through more. We're going through all these lights because he's got a lot of different kind of lights on it. Like it's got underglow lights and different colors, so you got to code all that in. So let's just go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I'll show you. 6,136 lines of code for this one mod. To kind of give an idea of just how complicated that mod is, I've opened up the XML file for one of mine that I've done, the forestry palette that you can put your chainsaws and spray cans and stuff on and just kind of take it with you. I have grand total 122 lines of code compared to 6,136. Yeah, that's a lot. That's how complicated that truck is. So, yeah, I'm going to interrupt myself here for a minute about console release on mods and whatnot. You don't have to release mods on console. If you take a look at the page, if you go onto the mod hub and you search just shift heads, I've got a couple of mods that went to all platforms. You don't have to do that. And this is not me tooting my own horn by any means, but you can just make mods and release them on sites such as Itch or King Mods or through Discord or whatever. It's all up to you, because the process of getting a mod on console is a pain in the neck in and of itself, because you could make a mod perfect, no warnings, no errors, everything looks great, fantastic, it works as it should, and Giants will kick it back and say no for any little reason. So that in and of itself can be a process and frustrating, because it takes time, because you'll submit a mod and a couple of days will go by, nothing will happen, and then you'll finally get a message from mod or from Giants saying, no, we can't do this, you got to fix this. And you'll fix that and you'll send it back, and it'll be another couple of days, and then they'll come back and say, no, you got to do this. They never do it all in one shot. So keep that in mind. And just a shameless plug here, I do have mods on itch.io as well. And yeah, these are mods that couldn't get released on console release due to various reasons. When you think about, like, okay, I want to build this truck, I want to do this, I want to do that, like that's great, that's awesome. If you can do it, go for it. But it's going to be so overwhelming if you have no idea what it is that you're doing. And to have 6,000 something lines of code for one truck, and if one little thing is wrong, one little letter is mistyped, it's not going to work. And it's very frustrating. You'll want to pull your hair out, throw your keyboard, smash your monitor, whatever it is that you do when you get angry. That's what you're going to want to do multiple times, because you're going to try things over and over and over and over and over again, and stuff's not going to work. And you're not going to know why, because the game doesn't just tell you. And so you got to go in, you got to start digging and figuring out what went wrong, what's going on here, so on and so forth. And it's just rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and you get to the point where you're modding more than you're actually playing the game. So if you just enjoy sitting and playing the game for relaxation and chilling out and just, having a good time, getting into modding is going to completely ruin that. That's just a fair warning. And, Giants. We'll see here, there are 4 different pieces here. But if I go into file, expand all, look at all of this. Hang on, let me move this over here. Look at all of this stuff. There's just stuff everywhere. It's crazy. It's insane. And it's all got to be put together. And that is just that one spot there. So we go to this, expand all. Now we got more. There's so much more. So much more stuff. So much more stuff. Yeah, it can be very overwhelming. But the thing is if you have a dual monitor setup, it'll make life easier. Like you can throw the Giants editor on one screen and throw the Notepad plus plus on the other, and you can look and make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. Everything in the Notepad that you have told the Notepad where something is, you can make sure that it correlates and it matches a lot easier than trying to sit here and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. If you're going to do modding, I do suggest getting a dual screen setup if possible. And if you have a PC that's not really, how do I put the word, powerful, like if you have a gaming laptop, like that'd be great. If you have just a normal laptop, probably not a good idea to get all of this stuff, because Blender is extremely resource heavy. Extremely. So if you've got like a 10-year-old PC and it's on its last legs, you might want to think about upgrading before you get into modding. So just a fair warning there. But yeah, all of that crap on the screen now, and that's not even all of it. That's what you're basically going to need to do mods and stuff. One notable mention that I would like to make, it's not really necessary to make mods, but it's definitely helpful. I do recommend FSG Mod Assistant. This allows you to take different mods and stuff and whatnot. You can make several different folders. And so say you're playing online with some friends of yours, and when you're playing online, all of the mods need to be the same. But let's say some of those mods are outdated and you've got all of the updated ones, it's not going to work. So what you can do is you can make a new folder and take all of those mods that you guys are using online and put it into one folder. And when you know you're going to play online, you can select that particular folder and start the game up. And something I like to do when I'm making mods and stuff and whatnot is I have a separate modding folder. Basically, I just, whatever it is I'm messing with or playing with, I throw it into that modding folder because it loads the game faster if there's less mods. It's easier to find the mod that I'm messing with. And it makes things a lot simpler. Instead of having to deal with a whole bunch of mods and start searching around, like where is it, where'd it go? It just makes things so much easier to find and mess with in the game when you're testing stuff out. And like I said, I'm sorry I'm not showing you how to use all of this stuff. I'm just showing you what everything does and how it's all interconnected to each other. If this is overwhelming for you right now, I'm sorry, but it's just how it is. I don't want to discourage you from trying to make mods. Something that I started out with, I just got 7-zip and Notepad++, and I just made simple little edits and small, tiny little changes to certain things. Like, let's say I found a dump truck, and I was like, man, this dump truck's really cool. I really like it. I just wish it held more. Well, I found out how to change that, and you can change that in just the XML. So like you can change how much it holds in the dump bed. You can change how fast it empties out. You can change how fast it goes. You can change. So let's say you're playing with the new mod and you really like it. And you find out that it's got no brakes. Well, you can go in, you can find out where the braking stuff is, and you can change that. That's kind of how I started and went along and got going. So, and then it got into, I'd get into Giants editor, and I figured out how to move things around. And so yeah, say I downloaded a truck and it had a particular option that I didn't particularly like sometimes modders like to put their logo on it. and I don't particularly like it. I could go in and I could get rid of that logo. I mean, before you do any kind of changes to any kind of mods, you're going to want to make a backup file of everything. So what I would recommend is just kind of copy the mod and paste it into a folder that you're going to, like, you know, your mods, you put them in there. The ones you want to mess with, put it in there, you know, as its own standalone. So if you mess something up royally and you don't know how to fix it, you still have the original. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you. I'll try to put links for all of the stuff you're going to need down in the description. Just look at it there. You can go, you can find it, download it, and I wish you the best of luck. And thanks for taking the time to watch this. Appreciate it. And like I said, I might make some videos in the future on how to do small, simple things, but I'm not 100% on that. So anyway, like I said, appreciate you watching, and I guess we'll catch you next time.